We get a great episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark today, with episode 3 of season 3, The Tale of Watcher's Woods, featuring who? You know who, it's Jewel Sate. First T is silent, it's tricky, but she was of course in one of my favorite shows of all time, Firefly, where she played the bubbly mechanic, Kaylee Fry, and even stood out in the iconic cast.
You were sailing a Firefly?
People like Nathan Fillion and Adam Baldwin. And I didn't know she started as a kid actor, but she did. If you look at her IMDb, she'll star in another episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, The Tale of the Unfinished Painting, and was in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids television show. Don't remember seeing that one. And most recently was in 40 episodes of Family Law and Havoc Town. So she's a great actress. And she actually does stand out in the cast here. It's not like if you're a good actor as a kid, that's going to translate into adulthood. We see many of them drop off. Even in an earlier episode, we saw Melissa Joan Hart. And if she didn't go on to be super successful with Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I don't think I would have singled her out as being an amazing actress. But Jewel Sate here is a great actress. Very natural. Doesn't look like she's reading her lines off of a cue card, which many of these kids are. They're not memorizing their lines. They're looking right off screen and reading it. And ups what is already a great episode. Storyteller today is Sam, who is a friend of Betty Ann's. She brings her in because they have to have 6 kids in this Midnight Society. And since David and Kristen left, they already replaced one last episode with Tucker. So now they gotta replace Kristen. And they're gonna replace it with another blonde-haired girl. She's got a bit of a bad streak. And there is actually a funny scene where Frank starts hitting on her and immediately gets rejected, which made me actually laugh out loud, since Frank usually does nothing in this series. He's supposed to be the bad boy, but they give him so few lines. And who is this Sam character? Well, she's played by Joanne Garcia Swisher, another famous actress. Man, they're hitting out of the park on this one. And Joanne is arguably more famous than Jewel Sate. I don't think she's as good, but she was Cheyenne in 125 episodes of Reba, Sandy Soon, and the very underrated Not Another Teen Movie. Super offensive and still funny to this day. And recently in 2025, she's been in 40 episodes of Sweet Magnolias. She's an actress I recognize, but she looks like so many others. She looks like Isla Fisher. She looks like Anna Kendrick. I can't tell these 3 apart. Can you? Of course not. She's going to be with this Midnight Society until the very end. So hopefully we won't get any more changes in the cast. Cross your fingers, hopefully. So Sam's here to stay. She's a good replacement for Kristen. And we finally get to the episode. It takes place at a girls' summer camp called Camp Grindlestone. And we're first introduced to what we think is going to be the main character, Sarah, who is more shy and introverted, but quickly she meets Kelly, played by Jewel Sate, who takes over as the main character, and she's a bit bossy, a bit spunky, and we think is going to be the bully, but really what's going to happen is these 2 kids are going to get lost in the woods. They love using the woods in this series. Why? Because it's cheap. That's why horror movies always film out in the woods. Do you need a permit to film this oak tree over here? Of course not. You're in the middle of the woods. Nobody cares. But we're also going to meet up with some witches later and see their little camp out as well. So we're not just looking at trees the entire time. Sarah sees at the camp that there's a shrine to 3 young girls from 100 years ago, and she asks what it was about, and they explain that these 3 girls got lost in Watcher's Woods, and they have 3 golden whistles below each one of them to remember the kids that we think died in these woods. The message on the plaque says, "Never enter Watcher's Woods ever." Seems like a bad place to hold a camp, a place that you're not supposed to venture outside of ever. Probably move the location of Camp Grindlestone. And Kelly tells Sarah that Watcher's Woods is a place where people disappear. They go into these woods and then nobody ever sees or hears from them again. She's told it's controlled by the Watcher, who's supposed to be some tree demon or something. Looks like Harold from the Fallout series, but he watches over these woods, makes sure that no one can escape them. So the 2 girls, Sarah and Kelly, decide to go out hiking into Watcher's Woods to prove that they're not scared of anything. Another common theme of Are You Afraid of the Dark? They go, "I dare you to go in the house." They go, "Oh yeah? I will go into the haunted house. Watch me." Counselors make this easy for them since they have them go on a treasure hunt in Watcher's Woods? ? So of course they get lost in the woods, and we see some creepy appearances of the Watcher, who just pops out of nowhere, his face appearing in a puddle of water behind a tree. They get split up from each other, and Kelly, Jewel Sate, comes across this mystical campground run by 3 witches. I think they're supposed to be witches. They're called hags. And she learns they're the 3 girls who got lost in Watcher's Woods, and their whistles are back at camp. And all they want for Kelly to do is to give them back their whistles. But she, of course, has no idea where she is. She's lost. And so she has no way to go back to Camp Grindlestone. But she is smart. And she tries to dupe them by going, yeah, I could totally get your whistles. Just let me go. This almost works.
Lost, vaporized, erased. The legend goes way back.
Souls till we found our whistles.
You knew we'd never find them.
I know where your whistles are. If you let me go, I'll go get them.
Sarah goes back and gets the 3 whistles that are at camp for the witches and brings it back to them. And then we get a tense scene where Kelly has to overcome her fears of rats because one of the whistles falls into a bowl of rats. Because I guess they knew she was scared of rats, or maybe they just guessed. And she has to reach down there and get the last whistle just in time for them not to be banished forever in Watcher's Woods. Not only did they save themselves, but they actually saved the 3 young girls who got lost in 1919. And we see at the end an old car, probably not from 1919, but close enough, it looks old enough, driving down the road. The 3 girls who were lost all those years ago are now saved. Well, at least their spirits are saved. That's a good ending. Watcher's Woods is a great episode. It's getting an 8 out of 10. Reminds me of the very first episode, Tale of the Phantom Cab, where 2 kids also get lost in the woods and they come across this little hobbit hut. The art design of this episode looks great. They're very good at inventing these spooky campsites out in the middle of the woods. It looks like they use some of the same props that they used in the very first episode, with lanterns that bounce up and down like a ghost is holding them, floodlights splashing green and blue all over the campsite, and it really does seem like something out of a grim fairy tale. As I mentioned before, Jewel State is a standout actress. One thing I noticed is she speaks very clearly. A lot of these kid actors are reading off cue cards, just kind of jumbling their words up together. Hell, everyone does this. I do this. Her speech is so clear. This is apparent in something like Firefly too, and she's very convincing. She understands the emotions. Watcher's Woods is a standout episode. Next up is the tale of the phone police. And check out our playlist for the other series that we've covered. We've done Monsters, Fear Itself. Of course, we're doing every single episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, The Twilight Zone, Pet Shop of Horrors, Cowboy Bebop, Black Mirror, Mystery Science Theater 3000. Thanks a lot.